Colleagues across almost all of this chamber, I'm grateful that we've made time to debate the child tax credit cuts and the rape clause today, though I can't describe my horror that we have to do so. That the Conservative Party have implemented something so cruel, so utterly revolting, that even their own most extreme members can barely muster a defence. And didn't Ruth Davidson's contribution today expose that so well? The mask that she so carefully constructed to create an acceptable face of her party has well and truly slipped. Ruth Davidson has spent years trying to convince voters that Tories are the nasty party no longer. But when you cut through the tank-riding, bagpipe-playing bravado, you can see that Miss Davidson is just another cruel member of a cruel party. Or worse, that she does disagree, but the famously honest and plain-spoken politician is too cowardly to say so. This is nothing new, though. Time and again, the Tories go after the most vulnerable people in society to impose the costs of austerity on those least able to bear them. Already they've hammered people with disabilities. While Ruth Davidson is posing on top of mobility scooters, her party is taking away 800 mobility cars a week and leaving disabled people isolated. While she's out there claiming that Theresa May has helped women, the Tory party is forcing rape victims to jump through invasive bureaucratic hurdles just to claim basic support. And as Alison Johnson has mentioned, 86% of the £26 billion worth of cuts either implemented or planned for this decade have or will hit women. The Tories have once again become the party of child poverty. Already, nearly 1 in 4 children in the UK live in poverty. That's 4 million in one of the richest countries in the world. Just today, a new report highlights that 3 million children are at risk of hunger over the school holidays. And now the Child Poverty Action Group estimates that a further 200,000 will enter poverty from this policy alone. But what does that matter when Tory party donors are getting their tax cuts? I'd thought it hard to stoop even lower than what we've already seen with cuts to people with disabilities, cuts which have killed. And yet that's exactly what the Tory party's managed to do. They're content to force women who've been through the horrific trauma of rape to relive it. Now, they danced around that point today, but I'll happily give some of my time to Ruth Davidson if she wishes to clarify. Why, Ruth, do you want survivors of rape to potentially give up their anonymity, to disclose their experience to a complete stranger? Why do you think they need to relive the trauma? Tell me, tell the public, Miss Davidson, why? No, well, that's not surprising, is it? Cowardly, but not surprising. There's a clear risk that others they know will find out, friends and family who they may not have wanted to know. There's a risk that their child will find out once they're old enough to understand the welfare system. So much stress and anxiety imposed on vulnerable women and their families. To do what? To take money away from children. That's everything I've ever seen the Tory party as, but rarely has it been so blatant. This is a policy that undermines basic human rights to privacy, to family life and the rights of children. I'm aware that Alison Thewlis MP, who we must all give her thanks to for leading this campaign, has written to the UN to request another investigation of this Tory government on human rights grounds. This is a UK government that claims third-party experts will handle the rape clause sensitively. Yet many women's organisations have ruled themselves out of this role. So has the Royal College of Nursing. They've raised many valid concerns about how this policy would undermine their relationship with the people they're trying to help, would undermine the vital service that they provide to victims. So again, I'd ask Rachel Hamilton, why are Rape Crisis Scotland, Women's Aid, the Royal College of Nursing, the Child Poverty Action Group, the Equalities and Human Rights Commission and so many others wrong and the Tory party right? Why, Miss Hamilton? No. Ruth Davidson called for the facts to be clear. I agree. So I have to point out to both Ms Davidson and to Adam Tompkins that they have, and I assume by ignorance rather than malice, made an incorrect statement in this debate. They said you do not need to report rape as a crime to claim tax credit. But that isn't entirely the case. In Northern Ireland, under the 1967 Criminal Law Act, it is mandatory to report serious crime. So what situation will women there now be in? The Conservative Party have talked a lot about the powers of this Parliament, powers that they never wanted us to have in the first place, and expect us to act. This Parliament was not designed to simply act as the last line of defence against the cruelty of Conservative governments at Westminster. That is not our role. The role of this Parliament is to improve the lives of the people of Scotland, not to implement desperate last-minute measures to prevent them from getting even worse. Now, some colleagues on the Conservative benches are here because of their belief in the Union, rather than an enthusiastic conservatism. I respect that. But is this what you all wanted to spend your parliamentary careers defending? Is this what my colleagues in the west of Scotland, Jamie Green, Maurice Corrie, Maurice Golden and Jackson Carlaw, are really here to do? To defend the rape clause? I don't believe it's why Jackson Carlaw is here, because he admitted this weekend that the policy is awkward. But as Christina McKelvey's pointed out, it may be politically awkward for the Tories, but it is an intolerable trauma for rape victims across this country. Policies designed to limit families to 2 children exist only in a few places: Vietnam, Iran, China, Singapore and now the UK. So I ask the Conservatives here in the Parliament, do you want to go down in the history of the Scottish Parliament as having voted in defence of this? You were elected on the banner of being a strong opposition. If you cannot oppose the rape clause, what on earth can you oppose?
Thank you.